On the morning of March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 departed from Kuala Lumpur Airport en route to Beijing, but it never reached its destination. Shortly after takeoff, the aircraft lost contact with air traffic control and disappeared from radar screens, sparking widespread panic and questions about its fate. Despite one of the largest search operations in aviation history, only scattered pieces of wreckage have been found in the Indian Ocean, with no clear explanation for what happened. This incident remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in modern aviation, giving rise to countless theories ranging from technical failure, hijacking, and deliberate sabotage to far more enigmatic explanations. Yet, the truth remains elusive to this day. For more details, stay with us until the end, and don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing to stay updated with all new content. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 was en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it suddenly vanished from radar screens on March 8, 2014, becoming one of the most baffling mysteries in modern aviation. The aircraft, a Boeing 777-200ER, carried 239 people, including passengers and crew. To this day, only fragments of wreckage have been recovered in the Indian Ocean, leaving its fate a riddle that continues to perplex experts and the world alike. The flight had taken off smoothly from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. and was proceeding normally until the plane disappeared from civilian radar about 39 minutes into the flight. The last communication from the pilot to Malaysian air traffic control occurred as the aircraft left the country's airspace, calmly saying, "Good night, Malaysia 370. Nothing was heard from him afterward. Minutes later, all contact was lost. Military radar data later revealed that the plane had deviated from its expected path, turning back toward the Strait of Malacca before disappearing completely. An international search operation was launched, involving dozens of countries and covering vast areas of the Indian Ocean, but initial efforts yielded no results. In 2015, the first piece of wreckage was found on the shores of Réunion Island, followed by fragments along the eastern coast of Africa. However, these discoveries provided no clear answers regarding the cause of the disappearance or the aircraft's final resting place. The plane's black boxes have never been recovered, leaving many questions unresolved. Investigations began immediately, with Malaysia, Australia, and China spearheading the search for the missing aircraft across millions of square kilometers of the Indian Ocean. Initially, investigators considered the possibility of a technical malfunction, but evidence soon suggested that the plane had deliberately altered its course after losing contact, raising questions about the crew's role or potential hijacking. Among the most controversial findings, satellite data indicated that the plane continued flying for several hours after losing communication, heading toward a remote area of the Indian Ocean. Despite wreckage being discovered on islands such as Réunion, Madagascar, and Mozambique, the exact location of the main fuselage remains unknown, adding further mystery to the aircraft's fate. By 2018, Malaysia officially suspended its search operations after failing to uncover any conclusive evidence, despite billions of dollars spent. Nevertheless, private companies continue to offer new search missions using advanced technologies, which may one day provide answers that have so far remained elusive. One of the primary hypotheses discussed by investigators is that the aircraft experienced a critical technical failure, causing a loss of control and eventual crash into the Indian Ocean. However, this theory does not explain why the plane deviated from its original flight path after losing communication. Military radar data confirmed that the aircraft veered westward over the Indian Ocean, supporting the possibility of human intervention. Another theory involves deliberate pilot suicide, with some suggesting that Captain Zaharieh Ahmad Shah may have intentionally planned the flight's course before crashing. Supporters of this hypothesis point to simulations the pilot reportedly conducted on his personal computer prior to the disappearance. However, no concrete evidence has been found linking him to the event. Other theories include potential electronic hijacking by an unknown party. Some of the most unusual claims suggest that the plane may have been targeted by military forces or shot down intentionally, though no evidence has substantiated these allegations. Another explanation involves oxygen deprivation, suggesting that a sudden loss of cabin pressure incapacitated the pilots and passengers, leaving the plane on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean. More speculative theories have emerged, including claims of abduction by extraterrestrial forces or secret intelligence agencies. According to these theories, the aircraft may have been hidden using advanced technology and transported to a secret location for undisclosed purposes. Some even speculate that it could currently exist within a secret military base somewhere in the world, though these claims lack any verifiable evidence. Additionally, some believe the disappearance was part of a larger international conspiracy. This theory posits that a political or intelligence entity may have deliberately hidden the plane to achieve certain objectives, possibly because it carried sensitive cargo or high-value passengers, making it a target for abduction or concealment. From the very moment Malaysia Airlines announced the loss of contact with Flight MH370, the families of the passengers began a long and painful journey of uncertainty. Initially, there was hope that the plane would be found quickly, especially with the extensive search operations launched in the South China Sea. However, as days and weeks passed, this hope turned into deep anxiety and eventually into despair. Families waited for any news, any clue, any sign that might reveal the fate of their loved ones. The profound mystery surrounding the incident made matters even more difficult. There were no clear answers, no wreckage, no black boxes, and not even a logical explanation for the disappearance of a modern Boeing 777. This absence of answers left families in a state of confusion and severe psychological distress. How could a plane of this size vanish in an era of advanced technology? This question haunted them every day. Families not only struggled with the loss of their loved ones, but also with the uncertainty. Had they perished in the crash? Did they suffer before dying? Could they still be alive somewhere? These questions tormented them around the clock. Some families refused to accept that their loved ones were gone, clinging to hope for their survival even years after the event. Authorities and the companies responsible for the investigation did not always provide sufficient support. Sometimes the information available was limited or unclear, increasing frustration. Some families felt they were treated as numbers rather than human beings enduring profound loss. This neglect intensified feelings of isolation and injustice. Yet, despite all the pain, there were inspiring stories of resilience. Some families turned their grief into strength, advocating tirelessly for the truth. They organized campaigns, participated in press conferences, and demanded clear answers. Their goal was simple: to know what had happened to their loved ones and to have their cases taken seriously. Even years later, many families continue to search for answers. For them, the tragedy has not ended. Each day without closure is another day of suffering. But they have also become symbols of perseverance and courage, continuing to fight for truth and justice. The disappearance of MH370 was not merely an aviation incident, it was a profound human experience that highlighted the resilience of the human spirit. Despite everything they endured, these families still hold on to hope, making their story one of the most compelling and inspiring of our time. When Malaysia Airlines lost contact with Flight MH370, technology became the first tool used to locate the aircraft. The Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, ACRS, and the Global Positioning System, GPS, were key tools relied upon by pilots and air traffic controllers. However, ACRS mysteriously stopped transmitting shortly before the plane disappeared, making tracking even more difficult. This sudden shutdown raised questions about whether the system had been intentionally disabled. One of the most important technological aids in the search was satellite data. Inmarsat, a company providing satellite communication services, was able to analyze signals sent by the aircraft even after contact had been lost. By interpreting these signals, experts were able to estimate a potential flight path, which indicated that the plane may have deviated from its original course and headed into the Indian Ocean. Once the probable flight path was established, intensive search operations began across the Indian Ocean. Here, technology played a critical role in facilitating the search. Sonar devices and autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, were deployed to scan the ocean floor. In addition, drones and satellites were used to survey vast areas of the ocean. Despite these technological tools, the challenges were immense due to the depth of the Indian Ocean and harsh weather conditions. Even with advanced technology, the search faced numerous obstacles. First, the search area was extremely large, which made surveying it a time-consuming process. Second, the extreme depths of the Indian Ocean made accessing wreckage extremely difficult. Third, the available data was limited, especially after ACARS was disabled, further complicating the tracking process. In July 2015, the first physical evidence of the aircraft was found when a part of the wing, the flaperon, washed ashore on Réunion Island. This discovery was the result of intensive research efforts that relied on modern technology, including the analysis of ocean currents and satellite imagery to identify likely debris zones. The MH370 incident prompted the aviation industry to reevaluate certain technological systems. One of the most important proposed changes was the upgrade of tracking systems to allow continuous, real-time transmission of aircraft data, even in the event of communication loss. Additionally, accident investigation systems were improved to ensure that data would be available more quickly in emergency situations. Technology played a decisive role in the search for MH370, but it also revealed gaps that needed to be addressed. Despite the challenges, it helped narrow the search area and provided some answers, even if insufficient. The incident served as a harsh lesson for the aviation industry, highlighting the importance of investing in technology to ensure passenger safety and enhance future search operations. In the end, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 remains one of the greatest mysteries in modern aviation history. Despite international efforts and extensive search operations, only scattered pieces of wreckage have been found, while the most fundamental questions remain unanswered. Theories have ranged from technical failure and hijacking to deliberate pilot suicide, yet no conclusive evidence supports any of them definitively. Over the years, the victims' families continue to wait for the truth, an answer that may never come. This tragedy stands as a stark reminder of the profound uncertainty that can surround an aviation incident, even in an era of advanced technology. Perhaps the future will one day reveal answers that have so far eluded us, or perhaps the fate of MH370 will remain a secret, forever buried beneath the ocean waves. With that, we reach the end of today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. See you in a new documentary.